Hey everyone, welcome back to what I believe is day 16 of working our way to being lean and green. So, for just a moment, I was a god, man. I was a god. Everyone stopped for me. The left turn light turned green, and I was able to go. But think about it. For a moment in time, all of us are gods and goddesses. And I don't mean this in any disrespectful way. In fact, it's an empowering way. When you think about it, with this beautiful system that we already have established, we're able to quickly align something into the universe that exists for that moment in time, just for us. I was the only one waiting to turn left. I'm headed off to see the San Antonio River, like I often do, but a lot of times I talk when I'm just at the river, when I'm really deep in my thoughts. Right now, I just wanted to kind of say hi again. I know that you miss me, and what I mean by that is you're tuning in to watch these things because you understand what I'm talking about. You hear the thought process from start to finish, which means you're able to focus. I commend you. It is very difficult to focus in today's world. Here you see me, there's a plastic bag crossing the road in front of me as I drive into John William Helton San Antonio River Nature Park. And I'm heading out here. It's like if you were to watch someone drive into a dusty yesteryear era, and there's like the sound of an eagle, and instead of a tumbleweed, it's a plastic bag. Now you saw what I was thinking of saying because I wanted you to see that. It's not a coincidence that I show you those little signs to help you to understand how I'm talking, how I'm communicating. Yeah, I might interject a few things like I did with yesterday's clip, which was filmed earlier today, by the way, where I said, where I went off on a tangent talking about, here's what I'm thinking while I'm thinking it. I know I talk out of order sometimes. My stories are told in one of those kick-ass movie script ways where you hear things out of order, out of phase even. And when we hear things, I say we because it's not just you. I'm not talking to you or at you. I'm talking with you. When we see these things and observe them enough and call them out into light, the truth will set you free, baby. Your subconscious does a lot more to quantify who it is rather than to understand what it is that's happening around us, that it can be shocked into disbelief. It knows that it's amazing. Every one of us are amazing. Why, with all of us having all of these amazing capabilities to bring each one of us to light, to joy, to peace, how difficult is it to want to bring ourselves into alignment with peace when we're not in the moment? So, as you saw, you could tell at certain points in time, it may be perceived as safe or unsafe to park while driving on the phone. Did I actually look back? Well, no. But it's because these sunglasses block the periphery just enough to where I cannot see what's out my rear view here. But I am watching the screen, the backup camera screen. And I'm answering that right now live because, in a way, I'm talking as if you're hearing me right now and understanding and growing in a partnership with me, which is basically the ability to kind of not blow off some steam, but to tell some actual stories. These things really are happening right now. We're driving into these places with big SUVs that are paid off. Why? It's to hear the quiet. Listen. towards us. Now, just like you guys, I just realized the super funny aspect, the comedic value of the things I say that are only interpreted in a certain way because sarcasm and doublethink is how we've all been taught. But we can't hear it unless we can imagine that there's a quiet space to think to begin with. Did you hear the crunching of the footsteps? Have you heard the birds chirping? Normally when I come to a place like this, it's got so many pecan trees. I feel like I shouldn't even have said that. Because if we're typically influencing people, we're influencing people in the wrong way, and everyone and their mother might show up to this place that's peaceful and quiet right now, where you can hear yourself think. Would you or would you not agree that it's almost like looking in the mirror when you hear someone talk in a certain way? That's us. That's our ego and our spirit. They both mean the same thing. Usually one supersedes the other if we're sleepwalking throughout life. Have you been a sleepwalker? It's hard to say, but it's a much different experience to live in peace with somebody, or by yourself even, than it is to just be genuinely aware of how in the moment or out of the moment we can be when work comes first. The energy that you receive, and I just wanted to do a demonstration for those who are hearing what I'm saying, is transformative. This is how I am now. Wait till day 17, which is just across this short walk through the pecan trees to the San Antonio River, where I was expecting to see at least one squirrel, but instead, however long ago that guy passed by, that's all that's out here. There's nothing to fear. Have you been cooped up? Afraid? Do you have anxiety? And that's the question I have to everybody who feels afraid to participate in basic conversations that lead down to wellness and conservation for all of us. Not just the lucky few who only know about these places and go to them because they alone are excited about things like this. Do you realize how beautifully peaceful it is, and how to certain variations of my state of mind, how utterly quiet and silent it is? That's why I put that space of time with no talking in this video. I'm saying this video like I'm saying it to you. Are you listening? Are you awake? Subconscious gesturings sometimes tell more truth than the people who are closest to us. So it's important. There's a little bluish gray bird that landed. If anyone's been traveling with me in the past on any of these journeys, you'll note that I always explain when the bird flies over during some of the most critical parts of the conversation. These are things that you can think of as signs. And anytime you think of signs, when you're walking in the correct direction, the signs are always positive. There's no doubt. Yes, good and bad omens supposedly could exist if you believe in such a thing, which is why we try to practice, don't look at this type of imagery, because it might be teaching us something that comes from the occult. But the reality is, you're not really studying the occult, you're learning your adversary. And you might be learning your adversary in these times of isolation, because it's probably correct for me to say that some people are experiencing partnership breakdowns and meltdowns. Not everyone. We've got a lot of awake people who are really trying to succeed despite all of these obstacles that we're encountering, who must be terrified about everything that's happening in the world today. But just because I use a lot of words, people are terrified of me. And I've got to be the most I don't know what to say. I didn't live a sheltered life, but I'm happy still, despite all of the change that has occurred. Am I comfortable with a lot of people getting ill from this who might not have the insight about how much value there is to our health? So much that is our wealth. When we value our health as our wealth, which it is, the power system of this car just turned off. That was another little sign. It's like the technology, when it kicks in to me, it's like, okay, they get it. They're following you. They're hearing you now. Thank God. Thank God is all there is to it. When we have a reverence, you see how close that sounds? Irreverence, a reverence. I want to break that spell. When we have compassion towards anyone, and it's deeper for whatever reason for that person, you establish a different level of love. Now, yesterday's segment talked about love and, giving away parts of yourself and this, that, and the other. And this one's I think I explained it enough yesterday as far as when a heart is withheld. When something is withheld and not given unconditionally, like a pet will give unconditional love to you. It'll defend you for things it doesn't know it's defending you for. That's us. Because we know that you're worth defending. That's all of everyone who's woke. So I don't want to give away a secret. There is no secret except for you're worth defending. That's why we have this ambulance racing down the highway for someone. Someone is a god today. What if that were your relative? Do you not feel that? Can you see that when I talk it? I feel compassion for whoever has that need for those services, and I'm absolutely grateful that they were a god enough to receive those services. Not everyone has those same opportunities. Not everyone is so fortunate to have the left turn light turn green for them alone. And I'm kidding and serious, because sometimes haven't you ever sat at a light cycle and the light doesn't change for your lane for like 3 times? Everyone else is gone. What do you do in a case like that? It's hard to say, but I don't want to look crazy, so hang tight. Because after all, am I talking to myself? It could appear that way to outsiders. But the reality is I'm talking with you. Whatever era this happens to be viewed, I'm open to the probability that this very transmission was already seen in a parallel universe, and they already laughed at, denounced, possibly crucified someone saying things like what I'm saying. However, in any other era, when you need Michael Jordan at bat, see how natural it comes? It's almost unnatural. So that's why I'm going to walk to the river. You're going to get a glimpse of before and after. I believe this was day 16 of our talks. There's a lot of wisdom that I'm imparting in the form of video communication. I don't know how else to explain it, except for there are powers in numbers, both good and bad. And using the force of kindness and compassion absolutely trumps everything. Have a great day. Thanks again for listening. If this inspired you in some weird way, do something about it. Just something kind. And yeah, that's about it. Peace.